Clark. How are you doing on a Monday afternoon?
I'm doing great, Gaurav. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much, and we want to welcome you to our podcast of Joy of Performing, where we bring people who are really the subject matter experts and specialize in things that we really care for. And what better topic than what we are going to discuss? I think this is going to be a big one, and a lot of audience would be interested to know what is happening in the world of AI, artificial intelligence. And friends, we have a Clark Burry, who's a friend I have known for some time now. And he will talk about where AI is going and share experience and also what the future looks like. So over to you, Clark, if you want to just take a minute or two and then introduce yourself to our audience, that would be perfect.
Thank you, Gaurav. It's a pleasure to be part of this forum, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast. My name is Ekhlaq Bari. In short, you can call me EB. I'm a masterclass instructor, workshop facilitator, and a consultant on AI and digital. Uh, I have around 30 years of work experience, mostly as Chief Digital Officer, Chief Information Officer, Chief Technology Officer. Now I run my own consulting firm, and I teach at MBA institutes as well as help enterprises on their artificial intelligence journey. That's me.
Perfect, perfect. So, Clark, just on the right at the front of the podcast, I want to say we'll keep it very casual and candid. A little bit of my journey is that I've been an entrepreneur little over 2 decades now, and I have learned on the go. So while of course there is a structure and there is learning as we go along, but I have realized that the more candid and casual you are about these conversation, the reality comes out, and that is what our audience wants to know, right? So
Hmm.
please stop me, intervene. It's like a chat having between two friends about this. So, Clark,
Sure.
let me break the ice by asking, what made you jump from the corporate world into the entrepreneurial world? What happened? How did it happen? We would love to know and get a little more insight on who a Clark Barry really is and what happened that he made that jump. So please, over to you.
All right, and Gaurav, I'll also mentioned while I'll make share with you the story of how I made this jump. I'll also mention the story of how I made the jump into doing master classes, to which was not the original plan. Since we are having a very candid conversation, I've been, as I mentioned, I've worked in IT leadership roles and digital leadership roles for 25, 30 years with very reputed companies, Max Life Insurance, GE, SBI Card, SMFG, and my last stint was with Jubilant Foodworks. Uh, uh, but with every professional journey, you have some ups and downs. And with my last employment, things were going well, and some things were not going well. At the same time, I was wondering whether or not to pick up another CIO assignment. And what occurred to me is that for a long, long time, I've been dreaming of starting on my own. All right. And uh, uh, we after we were in Mumbai up until 2020. We came back because of family reasons, being closer to the family. So I was back in Gurgaon. I had done 25, 30 years of a corporate job. I said, okay, let me get started. So I did not look for another opportunity. It's just I actually hired a coach, Gaurav, to tell me why am I not looking for another opportunity, right? And the coach said, Let it be. Whatever comes spontaneously, let it happen." And it was spontaneity in some ways. Uh, it occurred to me is that if you wait for every checkbox to be ticked, your kids are taken care of, you have enough capital for you have a great business idea, so on and so forth. There will never be a time when all the boxes are so now is a good time as any to make that. make that jump. I said, what is the worst that can happen? I have 6 months to 1 year to be able to manage on my own, and let's give it a shot for something that you have been thinking about. And to all my listeners, I would say that many of you would be harboring uh, this thought of starting on your own. Several of my friends and peers and colleagues mentioned that. Um, just know that there is never a good time to do it. It just happens. The second thing is, when I started, it was not my intention to be in the digital and AI journey.
Okay.
It was my intention, it is still my intention, to be a public speaker, to be a motivational speaker, as I've shared with you, Gaurav, uh, for
Yes.
people to find the divinity within and live their divine purpose. But I knew that for me to build a reputation in that, it's going to take time. So why don't I monetize what I have learned? So that's how I decided to do consulting on digital and AI. And
So
one
you
corporate,
pivoted very quickly, yeah?
yeah. So see, that's what I actually mentioned, that it's an important point to know that uh, don't plan everything out, that the next month
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, the next 2 months, the next 3 months. It's good to have a kind of a plan, but not don't try. I mean, be spontaneous and take things as they come along. uh, and my next story is going to, is a great example of that. Although I
Hmm.
started as consulting, one corporate training company reached out to me saying that you should become a masterclass instructor. I said, well, I have not thought about it. But what do you want me to do? So they said, we'll do a dry run of you being a masterclass instructor. I said, okay, choose a topic. They said tech. I said tech is too broad. They said AI. I said AI is too broad. They said generative AI, and I said generative AI. That's how generative AI came to, but just one conversation, and in a way accidental. But I loved the topic when I did research on it. The content that I prepared and the first masterclass I took became a super hit. Still remains a super hit now. But I had not planned for this journey to happen. It just transpired that way.
So, since we're speaking about this, why don't you tell the audience what kind of master classes do you do and how does it really help the organization? So, just to set out context, and then we can go deeper in the subject of AI as well.
Sure. So the first thing is that I do masterclasses for non-tech.
Okay.
For tech folks and for technology folks, there are much better instructors out there. They people who know technology well, and there's some very very smart people in tech, both on the learning side as well as the education side. It is for the businesses where there is, let's say, the world could do with more people who can explain technology from a business perspective. My master classes, whether they are about AI or digital or IoT or about 3D printing, it doesn't matter what aspect of technology or digital you play. I always come from a business perspective and help people understand what this means from a business lens, what it could do to your business, how you could leverage for the benefit of your business, how other businesses are doing it. So it's more a practical aspect of technology that I do in my master classes.
Very well, very well. And the audience is mostly like mid management, executives, or everyday users of the business. So who is the audience in per se?
So I would categorize my master classes, and I customize my master classes for three different cohorts. One is board level. For boards,
Okay.
you speak from secular trends, macro view. Then my the next cohort is CXOs and CXOs minus one. So there you go a little bit deeper from a conceptual understanding to practical use cases, and what is the first step you can take as an organization, how do you drive it from a top down perspective. And then the third cohort is everybody else who just wants to know how to use what this technology is and how they can use it for the betterment of their professional and personal lives. So my master classes do get customized and tailored to three different cohorts.
Lovely. And I'm sure, the audience would go ahead and look into some of the videos or some of the information you may have on the web, or they can reach out to you as well if they want to know more. Now, diving into the topic that we want to dive into, more AI, generative AI to be more specific, as you said, the use case for business. And a lot of our audience at Clark is around performance, strategy execution, business and people performance. That's the kind of visitors who like to see our podcast as well. So I'm going to drill down into that more subject of how do you think AI is doing in the whole space of business, the whole space of strategy, goals, the strategy execution space. And secondly, how is it really impacting the performance management or the performance of the business and the people? And what is happening in that space? Do people need to be worried about AI? Do they need to be scared of AI? Or can they embrace AI and help their own performance as well? So those are some of the things which are coming into my head, and I'm sure the audience would like to know as well.
Sure, that's a great question, Gaurav. So let me break it down into two, three different distinct pieces of the answer. The first,
Sure.
let me answer the question: should you be fearing and should you be scared about AI? I would say not yet.
Hmm.
Okay,
I like the
because
way you said not yet, huh?
not yet, because
Right.
this is generative AI is coming along. It's just been a year. It's new. It's maturing and it's developing. Um, 99% of the organizations are yet to make good use of it. um, there are 20% organizations actually experimenting, 80% are still sitting on the fence. So not a lot has happened in terms of, the world is running away and then you must play catch up, otherwise you're going to be gone. So no, there's no need to for fear and scare yet. At the same time, this is a need, as you said, you use another word, you said embrace, right? Know one thing for sure: whether you like AI, you don't like AI, whether there's an ethical stance, there's a moral stance, and then there is professional, personal opinion. It is going to happen. So know this for a fact, right? Your lives are going to change, and the best way to understand this is what were people talking about computers in early 90s? What were people talking about the internet in early 2000? Right. And if you were in early 2000 and internet was coming along, what would you do? Would you say, I'm going to sit on the fence, wait for the world to catch up on internet, then I'm going to check out internet, or let other people do computers, I'll come to imagine, you not having computer skills. Today, most of us, if not all of us, are proficient in computers and using the internet. And the same stands for AI. Start to dabble, start to experiment, start to try out things with AI, because just like internet and computers, it is an augmentation to your capabilities, right? So another way to understand this, Gaurav, if I were to ask you, if a bank was not using computers, okay, let's say there's a bank that employs 20,000 or 25,000 employees as of today, but they're employing 25,000 people because they use computers and core banking and internet banking. But if they were not to use any computers, how many people do you think they would employ?
Well, much more. I think four times of it.
Four times, so 100,000, right?
Right.
Now if you were in an era before computers, would you say that the computers destroyed 75,000 jobs?
No, yeah, I mean that's a very good point that you make. Yeah, absolutely, very good point. So they may not have destroyed 75% of the jobs, but they made it so well optimized that you don't need that 75% of extra layer. So maybe
Correct.
20 years
Yeah.
down the line, we would be talking the same language for AI, right?
Right, right. So computer was an augmentation. So you still have banks. The banking
Yeah,
business has not gone away. The news business has not gone away. It's just that the
sure.
number of people that are needed to run this have become lesser. But again, to create computers, to create those software programs, you need another set of people. So that is
Right.
one way to look at it. Now, second question is, even if you are 100,000 people, okay, let's say you are a company that has decided that, I'm going to work without computers and I'm going to focus on employment. I have 100,000 people. How much of what you do as a bank today would you still be able to do with 100,000? Would you be able to do everything that you are able to do as
No, no, I don't think so.
you
No,
won't do online banking,
no.
right?
Yeah, of
You
course. Right.
right? So so
I mean,
so
you wouldn't be able to compete with
you won't be
everything
able to
out there as
compete.
well.
Yeah.
Right.
So the other thing to think about it, apart from it augmenting your productivity and lifting your productivity, it gives you abilities to do things that you would otherwise not be able to do,
Very well. Very well. Yeah.
right? And if I take it to my, let's say, both my personal and professional space in a very simple example, right?
Hmm.
From my in my entrepreneurship journey for the last 6 to 8 months, I can tell you that AI has added at least 50% productivity. That means anything that I've done possibly at 50% less time than I would have otherwise done without AI overall. So it has doubled my productivity, right? So let's say I would take 2 hours to draft 10 emails. Now I can do that in possibly 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, that's
Wow.
right.
Yeah.
But that is not the only point, right? That 2 hours became 10 minutes. The point is, in those 10 minutes, the kind of emails that are being drafted, I couldn't draft even I spent 20 hours.
Sure. Sure.
Right. So there
Of
is
course.
both a productivity element and there's a capability element.
Right.
And AI is going to both augment and enhance your productivity, and it is going to allow you to do things that you would otherwise not been able to do. And therefore, it's a no brainer to say that, boss, why would you keep yourself away from something that is as powerful as this? Why would you deny
Sure.
yourself?
And I was reading it somewhere, so I don't remember the exact data, but something crazy it sent a clock that there would be a huge number of solopreneurs that will come into the ecosystem because of the power of technology and AI now. Like before, it used to take a big people kind of an engine to generate a business and run a company, but with the help of AI, like what you said, there could be immense opportunity for someone sitting somewhere across the globe and saying that, okay, I'm done with my corporate. Now I really want to follow my dreams, and the opportunity with the AI is so much more for them to go in, do things by themselves, and not need people and still be very successful. So I agree with you 100% there.
And I would reiterate that with two examples. Okay, and before I share those examples, there's a book actually written. I think it's called The Next Billion, or something, which actually claims that the next unicorn or decacorn is going to be actually a company of just three people, right?
Wow.
The CEO, the CPO, and there's one more role.
Yeah.
And the reason they
Yeah.
are saying that is because everything else is being done by AI agents. Now, I believe that, that is a matter of maturity, and for it to become ubiquitous and very, let's say, happening all around the world, it's a few years away. Okay. Having said that, let me give you a couple of examples.
Sure.
I'm not a marketer. I'm not a marketer. I'm a technologist, right? But I've designed entire marketing campaigns for my company with the help of AI without having a marketing agency.
Wow.
Right. So,
Wow.
and I do
That's a
that for
big
some
thing.
clients also. I did
I
whole
mean,
master class on Thursday, and the client was
right.
so taken away by the capability of AI. They said that, why don't you send us a marketing campaign for my company, tomorrow? And I sent it to them the next day. Now imagine doing
Wow.
that for
Right.
right now. Another example: take movie making, okay, or ad making. You would need a script writer, you would need a artist, you would need some videos, so on and so forth. Everything can be AI generated. So even for you to do a draft ad, You don't need to hire a videographer, a voice artist, so on and so forth, or a script writer. I'm not saying you might get you may get a finished product, but even to get a base level product that is 50-60% done, you can do that without having to employ or contract several people. And it is my belief that soon you're going to be watching AI movies, videos that are generated by AI, and I have many more predictions about the AI, very interesting ones. But one of the very interesting ones is one day in Oscars there is going to be a category for AI movies, that the best AI movie, and that category in Oscars is going to get introduced very soon.
Now what you said makes a lot of sense, right? You use that word not yet. You don't need to be scared of it not yet. But now I can realize, because I can see that maybe today you can get away with not being in the race, right? For the next 5 years you can still exist. Maybe after 5 years, who knows, right? However, but if you really want to win the race and if you want to be ahead of your competition, I think the time is now where people actually realize the importance that it's not a fad, it is not going away, but it is something that you embrace, you learn, you understand, and make a part of your career or make a part of your journey. So I get it. I completely get it.
Yeah. For example, take the case of Borders. It was a huge retail chain of books in 2000, and they were looking to expand internationally, in open and expand to Europe in 2000. Amazon had just been launched in 1998. They had lost their first suite, but they had suit, and then they had won, and they had restarted. And Borders just didn't think internet or online books are going to be a thing, right? So they did not do anything on internet and online, right? The result is, it was not like they were wiped out in 2001 or 2002, to your point. It took 5 to 10 years. It was a slow death because they refused to see the light. So yeah, for them, was it time to panic in 2000? No. The time to panic would have been in 2005, had they not taken cognizance of this
Yeah,
foundational
yeah.
technology that was coming in, and the writing was on the wall with
I mean, we've
Amazon.
seen that many times. We've seen that with Nokia, Apple. We've seen that with blockbusters, Netflix. So, I mean, from a business perspective, I know that this is the time to kind of wake up and embrace it. But from even from a executive or an employee perspective, I think it's about time where people take this seriously.
The
Great,
biggest TV channel in 2013, 2014 in India is not the biggest OTT channel in India,
absolutely, absolutely,
and they were big by a huge margin,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And now in OTT, they are not even in the top five, right? And OTT is where a lot of premium customers are. That's where a lot of advertising revenue is now coming from. So yeah, the good thing is, for businesses and for professionals, there is a lot that is coming in the next few years. But the time to it's not a time to be scared or fearing this technology. It's a
But at the
time to
same
embrace the
time,
world.
let me shift gears, right? At the same time, it's not all hunky dory.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are negative or some parts of it that one needs to be careful about and be sure that you're not at the wrong side of it. So, what are those things? I mean, what if you can articulate some of those things that one needs to be, if not scared about, be careful about, be cautious about. What are those things when you are getting AI into your business, when you are getting the workforce in your business to understand AI and the use cases of it? Would love to know.
Sure. That's a great question. And first, let me just answer the question from a personal point of view, and
Sure.
then I'll go to business. Right? And this applies to both personal as well as professional life. In Hong Kong, there was a uh, there was a uh, business where a person joined a conference call, and then after the conference call, transferred $2.5 million. uh, and in the conference call, there were four people. Three of them were deepfakes, and he was the only actual person.
Wow.
I think it is $25 million, not 2.5. 2.5, it wouldn't have made news.
I mean,
So
$25 million is
$25
still a
million
lot of
dollars
money, right?
is a lot of, even if it is 2.5 million, right? You can check
Yes,
this.
absolutely.
This happened in March, right? So one thing that AI is bringing is deep fakes.
Hmm.
Okay, so today you'll get a phishing email that was 10 kg gold. अभी सबको पता है 10 kg gold नहीं होने वाला, right? You
Right.
don't win. But when you get a phone call that sounds like your brother or your parent or your sibling, when you get an email or a WhatsApp message that is cloned exactly in the style, right? With
Hmm.
your photograph, with your video, with your lips, and with your voice, then the chances of falling for that kind of fraud increases. So, just as individuals, I'd request everyone to raise their guards on frauds that are going to actually be on an exponential rise in the next 1 or 2 years, because on the back of AI, thieves always get the more sophisticated tools that the police follows, right? So by the time we catch up, it is going to be some time before we develop some defense mechanisms against this. And on the side, I say, in order to beat digital, go analog.
Hmm.
So, for example, Gaurav, in your family, just decide upon a password, right? So that tomorrow, if you get a call from someone, you just say, "What is the family password?" You could decide that it is Chamkila, right? And it's not written anywhere. It's a
Right.
word that you would remember. But trust me, that simple thing. We have a family password. Uh, it's a simple thing, right? But it will protect you whenever there is
Hmm.
the parents in India getting calls from US saying that your son is in the police custody, and if you want to release them, then transfer so much money. And this is a live feed from the police station where the person is behind bars, so on and so forth. They're very convincing, and it's a simple question. So just wanted to mention that from an individual point of view, what you should do to protect against the risks of AI. Now, as a business, the first thing is go to your lawyer and have an AI policy and framework drafted,
Hmm.
right? Because the AI is carrying the risk of data theft. So that means your data could land up at public places or places where they're not authorized to have your data. Second, uh, there are some legal implications on copyright, patenting, and legal use and commercial use of AI. So your lawyer is going to help you draft a framework and a policy so that whatever you do with AI, it is within the boundaries of the existing laws. And more laws and regulations will come in, and you'll need to keep adapting to that. But at least your starting point as a business should be that you safeguard yourself. Go for
Hmm.
technologies where you have made sure, you have ensured that my data is not going to leave the premises, but even if it leaves the premises, it is very, very secure and does not get stolen. So that is one aspect. The other one is more about implementation, right? But just because I've mentioned that in a very short time frame, those are really the biggest risks: copyright, patenting, data theft. These are the big risks. But when it comes to execution, there are some major obstacles to AI right now. The first thing is cost. It is expensive. This technology is expensive, right? But know that every day the cost is coming down. Every day the cost is coming down. So by the time you actually get to industrialization of the solution, that the cost of the solution would come down, and it will keep coming down for the next few years because of the economies of scale. The second thing is um, uh, your training, right? In training, your AI models are going to be as good as your training. So let's say and this has happened, by the way. If I am training a model on only purple colored images, it will generate purple colored images because I did not have other colors in the training data set, right? So if you for example, in the most popular tools, image generation tools, you can say that create an image of a Hollywood star, and it would do that. But if you look at some of the Indian celebrities, it won't be able to do, because it is the training data set is missing. So in a corporate, if I'm a business, and I'm training for a bot for my customers, I got to ensure that I cover my entire population of customers. Otherwise, it's going to throw up biases.
Very interesting.
The another risk is that, because remember, it's only a generative AI specifically, and we have not come to what is generative AI and classic AI. Generative AI specifically, um, uh, is is a very subjective area, right? And it
Hmm.
is new, it is brand new. 1 year is no nothing
Sure.
in a
Of
evolution
course.
of technology. So make sure that before you go external with your use cases, use them internally. So I
Hmm.
tell my clients, before you build a customer bot, first build an employee bot. If you can service your employees well,
Hmm.
then you will be able to serve your customers well. But if you go for customers at the first shot itself, then there's a likelihood that you may disappoint some customers, or you may say something untoward to a customer, so on
Hmm.
and so forth, or you make a very expensive error, uh,
Yeah.
right? So know that it is a technology that is maturing. So dabble with it, experiment with it, try it internally, and then go
Go
externally. So these are
externally.
the
Makes sense.
two things. But just because it is a cost, it is expensive, and it is coming down, and just because there are legal implications to it, and you need to have some internal testing before you go out, does not mean that you should not do it, right?
No,
There's
of
risk
course.
associated with everything. You won't be able to do anything
And
if
I
you thought
think
all the
we
boxes
just
need to be
discussed
checked.
on the what will it really come down to, right? If you
Yeah,
don't, so I think
yeah,
that
that
we
is
have
covered.
covered absolutely. So so Clark, let we actually do a fun rapid fire segment in this podcast, and in the next 2 odd minutes, I'll ask you some questions, and just whatever comes to your mind, just you got to speak it out. Is that
And
okay?
before you do that, Gaurav, may I just mention one thing for the listeners,
Absolutely.
for the benefit of listeners? AI has been around since 1960, and it is in 2023 that it is becoming a household lingo, and that is specifically because of generative AI. And a good way to understand, and as I've told you, I've always explained it from a practical sense what this technology is. See, we all understand left brain and right brain, right? The left brain and number crunching, so on and so forth. Computers always had a left brain. You can't imagine a situation where you have tons of numbers and you throw it at the computer and the human is able to do, but the computer is not able to do, right? What the computers lacked was a right brain. Humans, sorry, emotions, communication, language, image, audio, video, music, design, these are all right brain activities. So generative AI has built the right brain in the computers. They always had a left brain. Now they have a right brain, right? So, and specifically in terms of performance management, in performance management, there is an objectivity and there is a subjectivity. And because there is a huge element of subjectivity in performance management, you did not use computers and AI, right? But now computers have the ability to take context and subjectivity into account and give you really quality subjective assessments. And that's where this is a game changer. Now the computer in a way is complete because it has a right brain and a left brain, and therefore its ability to augment humans has really taken a leap.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting you say that, right? Because there is a review part of it in the performance management, which is still you can make it a little objective, right? Could be biased, but you can still give a review or a number to someone. But think about it from a feedback point of view, or think about it from a survey or people having conversations which are not being recorded anywhere. How do you bring that from a context and do any kind of a performance management on that. And I think that is where the opportunity with AI is, which is huge. Actually, we are working on it with job, and I've
Yes.
already created certain use cases and keep on doing it for our audience and for our customers as well. So I'm extremely fascinated, and I we've had that conversation of how interesting this can be in the future of whole performance management.
Since we are on this topic, Gaurav, you would know that, and I'll share with an example, right? You know that one of the most difficult things to do is to be constructive in your feedback, right? For managers and for the employees to be accepting feedback, and for that, the manner of giving the feedback is extremely important. Let me draw a parallel to that, right? I do CIO recruitment, and of course, when one person gets recruited, there are other nine who do not get recruited. Now I have to send a communication to them, right? And no matter how hard I tried, I could not draft a communication that takes that human element, that lands
Right.
the news in a see, it is not great news, right? So still, if you deliver the news in a more acceptable manner, it just becomes more humane, right? So I just typed into the AI engine that this is the background and this is what the person did. Now please draft an email to be sent to this. And I was surprised with the kind of, I said, if I'm rejected in an interview, I wouldn't mind getting this email saying that you got rejected.
Yeah.
So imagine now using AI to be able to prepare yourself for having conversations with your team in a constructive manner. So yeah, it has huge implications too,
No,
and I'm glad
perfect,
that Job
perfect.
is already on it.
Totally. So okay, let me dive into this round. So to begin with, uh, Iklak, tea or coffee for you?
T.
Okay. What is the best book that you recommend our audience that they can get their hands on for understanding generative AI and the use cases that it can solve for?
Still to be written.
Wow. Are you working on one?
I'm thinking about it actually. I was thinking about it in the morning because this is so new, right? I'm
Right.
helping one person write a book on AI for leadership, but the topic is so new that you'll really find some material online, but as a book, there isn't one on generative AI use cases yet.
Understood. Understood. Any three applications that you think people can use it in their personal life to help and be more effective in what they do on a day to day life.
Decision making, communication, uh, uh, basically these two. And let me tell you one example of there's a colleague of ours who wanted to decide which wedding to go to because she was invited to two weddings on the same evening, and both are friends, right? Now she can't decide. She not only needed to make a decision, but she also needed to communicate the decision also, right? And give a reason. So she went to AI, and the AI said, "Go to the person who invited you first," right? And then, see, the thing is, it's you don't have to follow what AI is telling you, but it at least sparks an idea that, okay, this is a way I can think through to take decisions. There are people who have gone to AI and said, "Hey, look, you start with as blank an idea as, "Hey, I want to do a family vacation." That's the start, right? And then the AI can start asking you, "Okay, what kind of vacations do you like? Where have you been to? Where do you want to go?" And then it will. Uh, Actually, once you have worked with AI and planning your vacation, you are not going to go to another uh, trip planner or a travel planner,
Oh, of
because AI
course.
would actually understand every nuance, because it has no product to sell to you, at least not
Right.
right. So decision making, guidance, and then drafting communication. And I am not kidding you. If you are wanting to have a conversation with your child or even your parent or your sibling on a sensitive situation, in terms of drafting the communication and how to approach that, you could also take the help of AI. Uh, I believe it's a very, very legit use case in personal lives.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, let me ask you a question. What is it that you do if you don't know? what to get for your book, for your gift, for anything like a course you want to do. What do you do on the internet? You search it, right? Where
Yes.
do you go? Where do you go to search it?
Google.
Google, perfect. Now, I know, and I'm sure you do as well, that the first listing that you get today of Google listing, which kind of, when you search and it gives you those paid listing, then organic listing, that whole first page is just going to be covered with AI results, and not
Mm.
just one static information that it gives, but a lot of contextual. Meaning, if you say that where can I have the best pizza in Delhi, it's not going to just give you the listing of the place to go and have the best pizza, but it is going to tell you the recipe of it. It is going to have a video of that and all the information to make that decision of why you should be choosing that place, which pizza, what time of the year is better. All of those things are going to be done. So I think there's a huge
Yes.
advantages of it as well in the
By the
whole
way, accidentally you
consumer
have touched
world.
upon the next generation of AI, which is called AI agents. I've just written on it, uh, but maybe for another podcast we can talk
No,
about
but
it.
we'd love to. I mean, maybe in a minute or two, would love to know what are you
So
suggesting there?
so just extend this, right? So instead of Google search, you're going to a search where instead of websites, you're getting a whole complete answer, right? So simple thing like uh, what is the best recipe for this, or where should I go for a vacation? So instead of top 10 places to visit, so on and so forth, the AI is actually tailoring and customizing the answers
Hmm.
for you. But imagine today, what is your smartphone made up of? Sorry, possibly 20, 50 different apps, right?
Hmm.
So if you look at a WhatsApp message, and you basis that WhatsApp message, you want to draft an email, so you will copy from WhatsApp, then you'll open your email app, you'll paste it there, you'll draft something, and then you'll send it out. uh, Tomorrow you're not going to have these different little apps, right?
Hmm.
You'll just specify a task. I want I have just heard from a friend that this customer is in town, and I want to meet with that customer. It's the WhatsApp is not there. I've just received that. Can you send an email to this customer and maybe put it, not maybe, and put a reminder on my calendar? And all of this is going to be done. Calling these multiple WhatsApp and email, so on and so forth, is going to be done by an AI orchestrator, which behind the scenes could be using 10 or 100 different applications, but it will be
Wow.
presenting to you as a complete task end to end by itself.
Yeah, I'm living for that moment. I think we have too many things that we do by ourselves, and I would love an AI bot to come over and take my phone and just do that for me.
Especially the
So
copy and paste, isn't it? The
right,
copy and
right.
paste is all right. Okay.
Hey, but thank you, Iklaq. Thanks for your time. And this would be one of our longest podcasts, but I'm sure this will get most of the clicks as well because I know the audience is dying to know about this information and what can it do. So, Iklaq, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So my email ID is ebari at ebx.o.com. Uh, you can visit my website ebx.o.com. And I, Gaurav, I'll leave you with a thought, uh, uh, and this is for all the listeners, is that you may hear a lot of news and thoughts around humans versus AI,
Hmm.
right? It's not humans versus AI. It's humans with AI versus humans without AI. It's
Very
businesses
well.
with AI versus businesses without AI.
Hmm.
So that kind of encapsulates everything that we
Hmm.
discussed today. That it's not time for fear and scare yet, but augment yourself with AI. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to survive in the market.